Hello, hello, everyone. Tiana Smith here with TianaSmithCoaching.com and the Seven Figure Club. And I'm so excited to be coming to you live for today's theme. This is a day 2 of a 5-day series all about the coach's 7-figure system. And I'm sharing my 5-step framework, one subject each day. And today is luxury branding and why you need it. I'm going to tell you right now, you definitely do. And I'm also going to dispel some beliefs around the word luxury and why it really does matter to you, and will help you position yourself to charge premium, to attract better buyers, and to have so much more pride in how you show up online. So before we begin, I need to do a little admin as I'm live streaming. I need to double check that this is going live everywhere. And while I'm doing that, if you would like to come on here, let me know if you're live or in replay mode, and we're going to get the party started in just a minute. So I'm going to go check out where this is streaming to and make sure it's in our private group. If you're not a part of the private group where you're going to get access to the workbook and a bunch of other goodies coming up, as well as free training, just comment group, and I will make sure that you get access to that. Now for day 2 LUXE branding. Okay, so I'm typing this in, going to the group, making sure that we are, and let's do this. We're going to post it. Okay, so I believe I'm live in the private group. I'm live on here. If you can just type the number 1 in the comments, if you can see and hear me. I believe I can see and hear myself, but we just want to double check. So I'm going to jump right into today's presentation. I do have a short slide deck. These are, again, mini sessions. The day 5 training on Friday, August 22nd, if you're watching this live in this in the actual live this week in August, is going to have the step-by-step, the live coaching. There should be a pinned post that you can register for that specialty training. But today I'm just going to stay focused on luxury branding and why you need it. And I'm going to share my screen, some examples. So I recommend you close out all other windows, turn off some alerts if you're in a position to do that, or tag yourself to come back to this later, and let's get the party started. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to grab today's presentation. And if you can type in number 2 in the comments, if you can see me, hear me, and see my screen. So this is a beautiful photo, by the way, of Paris. And these are photos I took myself. So one thing about my marketing is whether I've had professional photos done of myself, or if you see photos and on my social media and in my playbooks and the things that I write, I take most of those photos myself because I love getting to be able to have this freedom. And this is the freedom we're talking about on being able to be an on-the-go consultant, course creator, high-level coaching, is I love traveling. I'd love to know in the comments if you also love traveling. Have you been to Paris? And how fun would it be if you could look at what I'm doing, and if I could show you a way to take also those things you're passionate about? How can you become not just like a travel vlogger or things like that, but even a premium coach? Freedom lifestyle sells for all of us. And ideally, you don't want to be faking it. You want to actually be living that freedom lifestyle. So I'd love to know in the comments as we're starting here, where would you dream to either go travel or live for part of the year if you could? Next up on my list is Portugal. Again, I've been there for just a couple days and I can't wait to go back to Lisbon. So let's jump into luxury branding. And, places like Paris or even Lisbon, and when I go to London and New York and Los Angeles, San Francisco, I've gotten to do business at all these places around the world. There's always a fancy part of town. And this is such a great starting place for this talk in luxury branding. And as we dive into this, I do want to give you some psychology on this, though, okay? So this is my playbook that's a part of my paid program, but I'm giving you a behind the scenes look as I promise to treat you like a VIP paying client today and every day this week, okay? And studies have shown that you only get 2 seconds, my friends, 2 seconds to see if somebody gives you a second chance or not. So I want to zoom into this so you can really see this. Do you see this? 2 seconds. Type the number 2 in the comments. And you know what's crazy is this is for in-person or online. But the thing with in person, somebody might give you a little bit more time because maybe they're like, oh, well, they seem kind of nice. And they usually don't just meet you in jet. That's not it's different online though. They might see you and just they're out of there, they never come back. So although you only get 2 seconds in person or online, in person you're typically going to get another chance to change their perspective of you. But even if you are in person, you can tell I'm dressed up today. I'm not meeting with any clients in person today. I'm online. But the thing is that your looks matter. Your voice online matters. And, the words you use, all of it really matters. But the first thing that anybody sees is the visuals. Okay. And so if you were trying to, let's say you were single again, if you're not single already, and you knew this person you wanted to be with, and they finally asked you on a date, and you show up at the date and you're wearing sweatpants, you don't do your hair or makeup, you're like, they should love me for who I am. And that might work for some, but it's not even just how you look and the fact that your level of hotness, it's about your level of trying. And people are going to subconsciously and consciously judge your level of trying because isn't it a direct reflection of how you would show up for them? If you're in services or consulting and you're not showing up at a level 10, why would you assume they think you'd show up at a level 10 for them? Because why would you? So you are constantly making first impressions online. When you do a post today, if the text is cut off, if they come to your Facebook header, to your LinkedIn header, and the colors aren't the same always, so I'm going to give you these examples, but I'd love to know in the comments, are you proud of your brand currently? And just say loud and proud. Or you might want to say, room to improve. And that's okay. See, I'm not here to guilt you, to shame you, but I am here to give you truth. And you are missing out if you're an expert at what you do and you are a consultant and you're a high level performer, but your look doesn't match that online. You are truly missing out on daily leads and sales. Just that alone. So that's part of why I always start with, yes, here's your 7-figure strategy map. Here's what we want to do. But the first thing we're going to go look at, the first thing we need to fix is your branding. Okay. So let's go to the page 2, a part of this luxury branding here. What do you think of when you see these brand names? So I put things into 3 categories here, right? And as we all know, I went from high to low. So all of these brands are very strong brands globally, but not all of them are luxury brands. Okay. So I will tell you, I typically, for the most part, shop in the middle one. I love Lululemon. I love Anthropologie. Those styles appeal to me from an aesthetic standpoint more than things like Gucci or Chanel. However, if I was going to dress up and get a suit, things like that, I might go to the other stores for a special appearance, right? But typically my day-to-day life, I drive a Jeep currently, but I will tell you my next vehicle, I plan to have it be a Mercedes G-Wagon. I've already started shopping for that. So the thing is, like, as you up level in your life or in your brand, or maybe the way you do want to present yourself, you're looking at, how do I come across to people? And the thing is, like, don't give people so much credit. We all judge even just that second. And some judgment is okay. There's a thing called discernment. So once again, I want you to look at these brands. These are all very, very successful companies. And if you were the owner or co-owner or shareholder with any of these, you'd probably be pretty happy with yourself. But what I want you to look at is, what experience do you get when you go to Walmart? So I literally try not to even drive by our local Walmart. It is always the worst drivers. There's a Chick-fil-A right beside the Walmart. And it's weird too. It's not just the one by me. Just 3 days ago, I was driving with my son, and there was these crazy drivers trying to scoot over in front of me. And of course, they were going into a Walmart. So there's a certain type of person and character that's going to shop at Walmart. I'm not being snobby. It's just the way it is. Same thing, like you might see a beat up used one of these other cars that are on the right, or these are even good vehicles. Let's say you have a new one and you keep it in really good shape, but the experience of going to a Kia dealership is going to be very different than going to a Tesla or Mercedes-Benz dealership. Okay, so it's not just about the behind the scenes on the brand and it being a strong brand. It's about, what experience do you want and what experience do you want to give your clients? It can be scary to start to charge higher ticket because a lot of things I hear from my clients, and something I even faced was, well, what if I can't deliver at that high level? But what's really interesting is, I will tell you this, and I bet if I saw the stats for Walmart, even Target, let's say TJ Maxx, Ross, those stores have way more returns, stolen items, customer service issues than higher level. What happens is when you go to a higher level, and I call this my higher level invitation, and we're going to talk about this on Friday, is you're dealing with the top one percenters. And when you work with the top one percenters and you operate at the top 1%, you're treated different, you treat them different, and it's just a different way of doing life. It really isn't even comparable. So, what do you want to provide to your future clients? You can have a reset this week. You can have a reboot. You can show up differently. You can go get some new clothes. And listen, I'm all for shopping a deal. Speaking of TJ Maxx, I got some great deals. This whole suit that was usually like $400 for like 120 at Marshall's a few months ago. And I was like, score. So again, this isn't where you have to go in and be like, oh, I have to spend outside my means. No, it's about saying, though, I'm not there yet, perhaps, with what I look like, but what I'm willing to do is I'm willing to invest. I'm willing to reboot. I'm willing to do a refresh, and this will change your life forever. So I'd love to know in the comments. Oh, and it's not letting me see the comments. I'm going to see if it'll change that over. Can you type the number 1 in the comments if you want to reboot? You want to refresh. And, it's a great time of year. It's fall. So I feel like fall is almost even more than spring cleaning because it's like you're going into this workspace. We're trying to kill it before the holiday season. We're trying to end the year strong. So it's really the best time, in my opinion, to say, you know what? Well, the best time is always now, but I always love seasons and new seasons. So put a number 1 in the comments if you're ready for a reboot. And I'd love to know in the comments, if you look at all these brands, which level would you like to operate at for your business right now? If you were going to hire someone like me and we were going to come in and redesign, and I said, hey, let's make a Pinterest board. I want you to pin all your favorite looks. What brands is that as far as your clothing, as far as your makeup, as far as your hair? If you're a man, what suits, what kind of styles do you like? We want to be up leveled. Okay. So let's keep moving forward here. Let's talk about travel now. Let's talk about experiences. Okay. So let's look at the top row and the bottom row. Which picture, first of all, would you like to be more a part of? Which one appeals to you personally? Top row or bottom? Let's put T for top, B for bottom if you don't want to spell out the whole thing. All right, top row, right? Nobody wants to look at the bottom row like, let's talk about the bottom row. So on the far left there, this reminds me of when I flew back from Paris for the first time. I was flying to LAX, and there was this huge long line for customs and to get back into the country. And it was like 3 hours of waiting. I had no VIP service. I was like, man, this is insane. It was almost like, why did I even do this to myself? I mean, Paris was still worth it, but it was just like that whole, like, you're at the bottom of the totem pole, no fun. Let's look at Netflix. I love Netflix, Amazon Prime, all of them. We have pretty much all the subscriptions. It's ridiculous, but that's not your whole life, right? Like, but this is where most people are living. And what about a motel? Or maybe let's even say an RV park. And, if that's your dream to do the RV park lifestyle, that's you. It's not my dream. I don't like showering in public showers, even if I had a fancy RV, and I don't, the point is, whether it's a motel or let's say you're camping in a tent. When my family was growing up, we did only stay in motels and we rarely traveled because we didn't have much money. So that's all I remember, because I never had a fancy experience, not all my life, till I was out of college and I had some wealthy friends and they would treat me to things, and it really was very eye-opening. I remember my friends took me to the Ritz-Carlton in Laguna Beach for my first massage ever. I was like 21, 22 years old. Never had a massage and never been to a Ritz-Carlton, not even walking inside one. I didn't know you could go to those places and just walk inside. And there was a waterfall in the room with the massage. And I remember being like, how do I do this? I felt so out of place. So when I talk about these things where I talk about up leveling, understand I'm very much like that. One song started from the bottom, now I'm here, and I'm still trying to reach to here. But the amazing thing is now I've hosted VIP one-on-one days with my clients at that exact Laguna Beach Ritz-Carlton a couple years ago. Isn't that amazing? I've flown around the world, been paid to fly around the world for my knowledge around funnels, marketing, and music and media. And so I decided that's where I wanted to go. And so the first thing is really, yeah, like we talked about yesterday, what is your why? Where do you want to go and why? And so if you look at this was a girl in Paris. That's kind of my style. It's a little more comfortable, right? So I like I said, I'm okay with like fancy, but this is how I dress if I'm out. But it's a cute dress, a nice, comfy, but expensive shoes, Eiffel Tower in the background. I mean, there's some pictures on these slides. I've gotten to get this shot 3 different times, one with my best friend, one by myself doing a launch in Paris, and once with my husband and my kids. And then first class travel compared to this one, right? Come on, friends. Everybody wants the top row. And the thing about luxury branding is not only when you up level your own brand, can you charge the prices that demand premium, is because you already are good at what you do. I'm not talking about coming on the scene and just making everything look pretty and faking it. What's going on that I see in the industry is there's a bunch of young people who know how to use tech and they know they need to get some cute photos and they do it, but they're not even experts at what they do. And so, who I'm talking to are people like myself. You're experts at what you've done. You've invested your lifetime into your career. You have so much knowledge, but you're not showing up and positioning yourself online in the luxury way that you really have to if you do want to up those prices. Okay. And even if you didn't want to up the prices, you're just going to close more clients. But why wouldn't you up the prices? We're going to talk about that tomorrow on the offer creation, on pricing, on premium, because it's not, again, just it's about a different experience. If you buy something from Walmart versus Louis Vuitton or Gucci, hello, the difference is crazy. Even the difference between a Lululemon workout pants and a Walmart or TG Maxx, like, you know what, these stay up. I don't see my underwear through them. If they look amazing, they feel amazing. When I go to the gym, I feel fitter. Even when I was heavier working on my weight loss journey, I felt really feminine, really beautiful in them. So again, if you are somebody who you are already giving an experience of luxury to your clients because of your expertise, why aren't you looking that way online? Okay, so let's talk about some steps to start to fix it. So put Lux in or L for Lux up in the comments, or the number 2 if you're ready to start to look at what are some of the first steps if we want to rebrand and we want to reboot to start to get this higher level experience. What do brand experts like myself, what do we start with? I'm about to show you. Okay, so number 2 in the comments. So the first thing is we want to start to ask some questions. Now, words really matter because in order for you to gain clarity on what you want the look of your brand to be like, we want to ask questions like, what words do you want people to think of when they think of your brand? So off the top of your head, I'd love to hear in the comments or write it down on a piece of paper. What words do you want people to think of when they think of your brand? Okay. Is it luxury? And this is the part where I want to help you understand. Luxury branding does not just mean luxury. It means consistent. It means premium. It means up leveled. I gave an example on a 1-minute video tip last week, which was about there's a man named Jocko. He's a veteran, and him and his business partner, they're both veterans, I believe Navy SEALs, if I'm remembering correctly. And I probably should have looked this up before I guessed, and I apologize if I get that wrong. But he's high level go-getter achiever. So he's developed also systems for entrepreneurs, but he also has like a line of fitness products. Even at the gym, I go to Lifetime Fitness. If you're familiar with that, it's a luxury style workout club in different locations in the US. And they have a Jocko line of protein shakes. Now, here's the thing that I want you to be aware. The coloring is always the military style coloring. His font for Jocko is a military-esque font. So luxury, so no, it doesn't look like Tiffany & Co. or Gucci, but it's not just about that. It's about a up level. It's a consistency. And I would write C for consistency in the comments. That is one of the number one things. The logo never changes. I can't believe how many so-called professionals out there that I see. And then every time I see their name font, it's different. That just speaks amateur, my friends. And if any designer you've ever hired does that, they're not an expert. They are also an amateur. And those of us who are experts at what we do spot it. And it makes me not want to hire that person or work with them. I'm interviewing right now for a videographer for my event I'm hosting in September. Some of you here, I hope, will join us. I only have 15 spots left. So the thing is that for that, I want this high level videographer. And I was even talking to somebody, and then she said, oh, well, I don't have a website. So she was telling me about how expensive her videography was. And then I said, okay, well, then can I check out your links and things like that? And then she gives me all these explanations about she hasn't put together a website. It's easy to put together. And I stopped her and I said, hey, like, you just told me how amazing your videography is. But one, you don't have a website, but also that's what part of one of my services. And you're saying it's just easy to put together, but it's not easy to do video, isn't it? So why I'm sharing all this is your experience, the way you present yourself. She probably is really good at what she does. And I've checked out her links because she was a referral, but she's not even positioning herself where she could close that deal, because the other girl that referred her had an awesome website. It was put together. I checked her out. She gave me the proposal within 24 hours. It was all boom, boom, boom. When then somebody else doesn't have a website, has to explain themselves, I don't really want to work with them because I've devoted all my time, my money, my energy, and investments into my business. And this is what you guys need to know about when you're selling yourself. Somebody else at a higher level is going to ask you, what's your website? What's your Instagram? And if you're looking at media and PR, they're going to ask you, how big is your email list and all that. If you don't have these answers off the top of your head, then they're going to know that. So the other thing you need to understand is about your brand is you are disqualifying yourself to fellow experts. Whereas if your brand is like, yep, and I have 10,000 on my email list and I've got this much in gross money, here's my projections for this year. These are this higher level way of doing and being. So put HL for higher level in the comments, HL, because that's what we want. So when we come back here, what do you want people to think of when they think of your brand? First, I think it's better just to organize your thoughts. Please don't use AI on this, like at least for this part. You can use it at home. I really, really want to encourage people to take this moment. If you want to use AI for doing, don't use it for strategy, in my opinion, but for like gaining words, sure, hey, thesaurus, things like that. Those are all great tools, but don't use it right away. Because the thing is, you're not letting yourself get inspiration from above and from your own heart, your own soul, your own experiences when you ask a computer, a non-living thing, before you ask yourself. Understand that you are creative. You are brilliant. You were created to be a creator. So I just want to say this side note. Use AI as you see fit. Ask for wisdom and discernment on that if you want, but don't ask first. Ask yourself first. Allow yourself to use your life experience. Allow yourself, even the reason I put a blank spot here before I had different words you could put in there that are fun, and there's a ton of other words you could fill it with. Sometimes, like, you just need to say, what do I want to be known for? And let yourself answer that. You are smart. You are capable. You don't need to lean on these other tools sometimes. Sometimes you just need to be the leader that you were made to be here. Okay. So put leader in the comments if you want to be that leader. You want to be a thought leader apart from AI. Okay. Okay. So down here. So let's say you wanted to be modern and fun and Hakuna Matata. I don't know, that sounds really funny. But let's say you want it to be earthy and you want it to be natural. So let's say you're like a more hippie-esque person and you're like, okay, I want it to be consistent. Somebody that's a great example of this is Leonie Dawson. Actually, I'll bring up her website to show you what I mean. I'm going to show you guys some examples of some of my favorite people. Their brands all look different, but they are all fantastic. Does that sound good to you? So put brand in the comments if you want to see some examples of different people that I think their websites are fantastic. I actually create a list of top level websites for men and for women, so that I love to go in there and be like, okay, what's really cool? So one second, I'm opening up my board and I'm going to go grab some of these examples on the side here. Okay. So here's some female coaches that I love their websites. Just a second. Trello is like starting over. I keep it in Trello. Okay, so Leonie Dawson, I'm going to share this tab. She's fantastic. She's super artsy. I wouldn't say I love this block here, but the thing I love about her is even all her website, all her stuff, she hand draws all this and then uploads it. And she does do it herself. And I could tell, but she's sold millions and millions and millions. And she's herself. And she lives in New Zealand or Australia, depending on where she's at the time. She's a mom, and I believe they homeschool. I don't know if they still do, but she's just herself. So it's also not just about you being like me or Tiana. If you go to my website, for example, and we go to tianasmithcoaching.com, I just had a new photo shoot done, and we're having a brand new one in September, part of this whole event I'm telling you about with videos and media and getting all those media items for you. And, I wanted to go with it essentially FU vibe. I've got the money in the way, and let's go work together and make you more money. And so, and by the FU, that's the whole thing. Like, actually, the vision for this was that, men, they have the cigars, these white old men, and they have cigars and different colors too, of course. But that's what I was going for, that old banker dude that like essentially said no to the rest of us. And I'm saying, hey, it's 2025. I get to be myself and I can make my own money, and let's go. Let's bring it on. Put money signs in the comments if you're like, I want to make my own money. So the vibe, it just depends on you and your unique self in the season. You might even do a theme. Think about celebrities. They do different photo shoots for different magazines. So be more fluid. Really start to think about yourself like a celebrity. Some of my other favorite websites would be, I love Kat Kilroy. She's definitely more girly too. She teaches about Instagram. She's also a top branding specialist in the whole world. Again, this one's very girly. I wouldn't say it's super luxury. If we go to Tiffany & Co., like we know that the Tiffany blue, it's so branded, that color, that people even call it the Tiffany blue, right? And so I want to draw your attention to like even websites. The fonts are all the same. The coloring, this is all going to be the same brand. When I go to people's websites and I audit them, I see their e-commerce stores and it's like all over the place. How do you expect to sell anything when they could go to these other websites? And I understand the price point is different, but there's even lower ticket websites that look almost as good as this. They're not going to buy from you if your stuff is all over the place, and you need to understand that. Investing in luxury branding, investing in these kinds of levels is going to pay you many, many times over. Another top person is Marie Forleo in the business that I'm in, right? So notice, like, if I'm in competition with her and she's selling a course and my stuff doesn't look at the same level, why would they buy from me instead of her? And the thing is, it's also vibe. So the thing is, like, they may not buy from me because they don't like my vibe and they like hers better. Then so be it. But you never want to lose the sale because of your branding. That's what I'm saying here. So look, what's meant to be will be. Look, there are some people and they can pour $1 million into a website. And you know what? Maybe you can't compete with that right now. But what you can compete with is you can make sure that you are consistent, that you do show up, that you do dress up, and that you position yourself in a way that you can truly be life-changing. So here's the invitation. There is a link and you can go and register for Friday's class because I have a call in another minute. I'm trying to keep these to 30 minutes to be honoring of this time. If you are interested in joining that group, just put a group in the comments and we'll get you into that group. If you want to be on a wait list, on a Friday, I will plan to be selling out all my last spots for one-to-one as well as group and this live event I'm doing where we're actually going to rebrand you like this, and you're going to come here to Dallas, Texas. If you choose to, we can do it all online if you don't want to be a part of the event, but I do recommend you do. Get your photos, your videos, your funnels, your websites, and you come out of this thing with a 7-figure strategy and all the pieces done for you, so you get to just show up. It's a game-changing weekend, as well as support for 3 months. So if you're interested in that, comment VIP and I will reach out to you one-to-one. Let's go get it. Have a great day. I'd love to know in the comments your takeaways. Make sure you download the workbook for your daily homework, which will be scheduled out at noon today. And I'll see you tomorrow for day 3.